Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to show you how to do the analysis in Excel. I showed you how to do this once before quickly, but now I'm going to show you kind of again, given that the Excel sheet looks a little different now than it did before. I added some more columns, which I've shown you in previous videos. So let's kind of once and for all, I hope, look at this and I'll show you what I would do to analyze it. You can do whatever you want. You can totally ignore this and do your own way, but you should have a reason for that if you do that. We can talk about it if you want to do something different. Or if you want to do this, we should also talk about it. Make sure you understand what's going on. But here's what I would do. So you notice the fact that I don't even have Excel open right now. The reason for that is because I noticed that I was going to do that. I was going to just show you the Excel file, but my goodness, this thing is so big. It's how many columns is that? 30 columns wide. And all the information we want, we've sort of been over this. I think this I probably can just spout off the top of my head. I just created a row here. I'm going to label these. So this is the subject ID. This is probably the average pupe size across the whole trial. And this is pupe size at beginning, or from 2 to 4 seconds. We ignore the first 2, but we take it from 2 to 4. And then this is last 250 milliseconds, last 500 milliseconds. So these overlap with each other, just to be clear. Last 1000 milliseconds, and last 2000 milliseconds. So these are all the pupil data that we've created. Lovely. But there's one other thing we really need to understand, which is, what if the data suck on a given trial? So, for example, I don't know what an example would be, but if it happens a lot in eye tracking that we're missing a lot of the data on a particular trial. For example, the person, might have a funny shaped eye or something, and we really don't have a good lock, that the tracker is not giving us accurate information about the eye. This happens. And so we want to throw those trials out if the lock on the eye sucks. So how do you know which trials to analyze? So basically you're going to be looking at this, and you're going to, one thing you can do is just look at the beginning and the end of the trial and so forth, average maybe across all 40. But then we're going to be looking at the different emotions, which are shown here in column C. Abby has the information of what number means what, or what number in B means what, in terms of if it's a woman or a man face and what emotion it is. So we can analyze those separately, but you want to throw out the trials that we had a crappy lock, that it's poor quality data. So how do you know which those are? Well, okay, so that's what I just spent some time figuring out. So the first thing we have shown here, all the way up to this subject ID that's listed over here, I forget where it begins and where it ends, but the first chunk is called the cond matrix, which is just a matrix that's used when you're running the program. This helps the computer figure out what face to show and stuff. That's why the conditions are shown here. That's why it's called the cond matrix. It's the conditions that were present in each trial. That one you'll use to sort it. Oh crap. Okay. That one you'll use to sort it. Then the next matrix that's present is the fixations matrix, and that's like, where did they make a fixation? Did they make it in the mouth region or the eye region or whatever? And that's something we're ignoring for now. That's from another, we analyze those data in another paper. The thing you need that's right before the pupe data is this. So the integration file C equals cond. And remember what you learned last video, said A equals, if I do A like this, B equals 4, 4, or 5, whatever, b equals, forgot to put it in brackets, 4, 5. And then I say c equals a, b. I can, that's called concatenating matrices. I put matrix A, which was 2, 3, next to matrix B, which is 4, 5. So now you've just created this bigger matrix. So what our integration variable is, which is what made the Excel files that you have, is just this cond matrix next to this sum fixed matrix, next to the tossed 50 matrix, next to the sum pupe matrix. The sum pupe matrix is the one we've been working with, where we have all these these last 6 or 7 columns that are all pupil data. The tossed 50 matrix is the one I want to talk to you about now, which is the one that tells you if the trial is good or not. So I guess, yeah, it's just, if it's a 0, you're good. And if it's a 1, you're not good. So we just got to figure out where it is now. I'm pretty sure it's the one right before this. This is it. It's just this one column. So any trial that has a 1 in column W, you don't want analyzed, because it means less than half the data we had. We tossed it out because we have less than 50% of the data. That's what toss 50 means. So yeah, if there's a 1 in column W, you want to toss out the trial. That's the point of this entire 6-minute video so far. And I would have told you that sooner, but I thought all the thought process and where it came from and stuff would be valuable for you to see. So you're more or less going to do the analysis I showed you last time on these last 6 columns, and you're just going to toss out the trials in W that you don't want. And then other than that, it'll be like what I showed you. So I'm going to show you what. Now, first of all, this subject here has none to toss. So let's maybe use a different one to start with. Yeah, this person also has 0. All right, we got a couple people with good data. Aha, I found one. This person has 1 crappy trial that we should toss. Okay, who knows what happened? Maybe they started to get a little sleepy and blinky. So here's how I would analyze. I'd select the whole thing, all the data, and then I would go to data, sort, and I would probably sort it by B, because this is, yeah, this is what face and emotion it is. And there's 5 of each condition. I think the easiest thing to do, and I apologize, I probably should have done this in MATLAB, but yeah, I'm not going to do it for you in MATLAB, because you guys have to have some experience. I can't just do the whole analysis for you, and then you don't have any hands-on, creation of the data. You need to create the analyzed data, create meaning out of the data. You guys need to be involved in this process more. I've been doing too much. So if this equals, I'm sorry. So what we're going to do here is filter the data. So we say if. Well, you know what you could do, the easiest thing to do is probably just if you see a 1 here, just delete that row. Okay? And then you'll be good. And say equals average and do an average of Lord have mercy. There's a lot of data here. We should talk about this.